The other major aspects of the bill include an extension of the unemployment insurance benefits. The House is looking at the end of August, but there may be a push for an extra month there. There is support for the paid sick leave that was originally passed this time last year for folks who may still tax credits, and a few other sources of support to help businesses as they continue to reopen. There is a proposed expansion to the child tax credit.
Several new bills are being pushed through, and now Congress has the chance to make this happen. As inflation just continues to soar, it's making it harder for Americans to afford things like rent and food and groceries. And much of the focus has been on the Fed. That's because of the central bank is tasked with keeping prices stable. For months, the Fed has been trying to bring inflation under control by aggressively raising the interest rates, and effectively makes borrowing money more expensive. And by doing so, the Fed is just trying to reduce consumer demand, which could actually eventually lead to a slower price growth. The Fed's policy is the main and most influential factor, but economists say there are other ways that Congress can help tackle this. It's up to 8.2% from a year ago. Lawmakers have already passed the Inflation Reduction Act, and it includes provisions that would cut the cost of prescriptions, provide tax credits, and encourage the others to use renewable energy, and also impose a 15% minimum tax on the profits of large corporations. So, everybody, Congress passed the CHIPS Act. President Biden was very proud about this, and he said that it would help many countries compete with America. Now, that's because the central bank is just testing and taxed with keeping prices stable. For months, the Fed has been trying to bring inflation under control by aggressively raising interest rates. It effectively makes borrowing money more expensive. By doing so, everybody, the Fed is just trying to reduce consumer demand, which should eventually lead to a slower price growth. The Fed's policy is the main and most influential factor, but economists say there are ways that Congress can tackle inflation, which is up 8% from a year ago, folks. That's not good. So with the economy top of the mind for many voters and ahead of the midterms, there will be pressure on lawmakers to help Americans keep up with the rising prices. Economists say that most fiscal policies that Congress could pass will be longer-term solutions. Now, according to economists, there are several ways that Congress could take action to address the rising inflation that's facing the American people. Rising housing costs could also be a major contributor to the overall inflation. Shelter prices have made about 30% of the Consumer Price Index, a key measure of inflation. Housing prices soared again over again, and economists say that easing local regulations could just help rising and help keep and increase the supply of available homes by allowing more available spaces to just be converted into residential properties, or by making it easier for builders to construct new homes. It could turn and lead to lower prices as supply is better able to meet demand. For instance, a senior economist said again that Congress could offer grants and free stimulus money to encourage the conversion of empty office spaces into residential homes. I'm not sure if that's going to be a good idea, but let me know what you think in the comments. Not only that, folks, but listen to this. Michigan Democratic senators have actually previously introduced a bill that would create 20% tax credit for expenses. And now, senators have also proposed new stimulus that would provide funding to localities to develop plans to build more homes and remove local barriers to housing developments. Now, steeper medical care costs have also been a significant driver of overall inflation. It's causing inflation to tamp down. Economies have actually struggled to deal with worker shortages during this time, and it has led to more labor cost, and it made it harder for supplying good services. According to one economist, Congress could actually pass bills that would encourage people to save money. It could lower economy and consumer demand and spending, and lawmakers are already considering expanding the server's tax credit, which can be claimed by low and middle income taxpayers who contribute to a retirement account. Senator Wyden and Mike Crapo have said that enhancing the American Retirement Act includes several upgrades to the Savers tax credit, and the bill would make the tax credit refundable and deposit directly into workers' IRA and 401ks. I agree with this, folks, and I think that President Biden can make more stimulus money and sends it out fast right now.
Goods and services to come down as well. Gas prices are down, but it's going to take time to get inflation back to normal levels as we keep our job market strong, so we could see setbacks along the way. I don't doubt that, but thus far we're in good shape. But we're laser focused on that. And in 6 short weeks, Americans are going to start to feel the effects of the Inflation Reduction Act. Come January 1st, seniors with diabetes on Medicare are going to pay no more than $35 a month for a prescription of insulin. Some pay as much as $400 a month now. And this matters to folks like Bob, who lives in Long Island, who has had diabetes for nearly 50 years, and he's had a leg amputated and has issues with eyesight because of the complications of his diabetes. Bob came to the White House a few months ago and talked about how he has to pay $300 out of pocket every 90 days for his insulin. Now, he won't have to choose that beginning January 1st, paying for a trip choosing between a trip to see his grandkids or to pay for his insulin in order to survive. This matters. There are millions of folks like Bob across the country. People are going to get a little more breathing room come January 1st. And for every Bob, there's a person who won't have to pay 100.
Stimulus checks are being discussed by a large group of lawmakers in Congress. Many people want to include an extra $100 stimulus check into the relief package. Janet Yellen has also confirmed that the fourth stimulus package is not going to affect inflation, and so that's good news for all of us. That's good news for the many people that need stimulus checks. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen defended the Biden administration's 2021 stimulus package against criticism that it is blamed for high inflation. Yellen told lawmakers during a hearing that the House Ways and Means Committee that the American Rescue Plan, signed into law, has contributed only modestly to high prices. Yellen said, "I had to think about what the situation, especially for low-income families, would be without the help provided by the American Rescue Plan." Yellen did acknowledge the pain caused by inflation in regular gas prices. Yellen said that gas prices are an enormous problem, it's an enormous burden on American households, and we need to do everything we can to address that. Yellen downplayed the inflationary impact of the stimulus package, pointing instead to the economy's miraculously rapid recovery. She said the success of the policy adopted is that we have an economy with the strongest labor market, arguably in the post-war period. Yellen also fielded questions on ways the Biden administration is addressing the historically high inflation, in particular a review of some of the tariffs imposed by the former president. She said that lifting some of those tariffs could help bring down prices, but cannot be viewed as a solution to help America's inflation problem. Some reductions may be warranted, Yellen told lawmakers. It could help to bring down the price of things that people buy that are burdensome. And I want to make it clear, I honestly don't think tariff policy is a way to respect inflation. Still, Yellen said that the Biden administration is reviewing its tariff policy, and changes may take place in the coming weeks. Knowing that officials are taking a look at tariffs that may be hurting consumers and whether they can reconfigure those tariffs in a way that would make it more strategic. According to a new poll, Biden's approval rating among Americans has hit an all-time low. The poll published found that 50% of those surveyed disapprove of Biden's performance, while 39% of respondents approve. 80% of respondents who are registered Republicans strongly disapprove of President Biden's job as president, and 30% of respondents who are registered Democrats approve of his handling. Overall, 80% of Democrats said they approve that Biden is doing a good job as president. And there has been tax rebates sent out to citizens in the state of Idaho, United States, with these being issued to those individuals who were full-year Idaho residents for 2020 and 2021.